Okay, we'll get started. Okay, good morning and thank you everyone for joining today's session. Today we have actually a very good and very interesting topic on gaming industry. And I know for a fact that there are a lot of avid gamers in our team. So this session is definitely going to be insightful because Bharat, who is our speaker today, is going to talk about how gaming industry has evolved over a period of years. What is the actual size of the gaming industry? What are the new trends you can look forward to, which are going to come in coming years? So without delaying it further, I'll hand it over to Bharat. Bharat, why don't you start with introducing yourself?
Sure, Sandeep. Thank you so much for setting the context. Very good morning to members of the EY team here. Thank you for joining in for today's session. My name is Bharat. I'm a chartered accountant and I've been with EY for about 2.5 years now. And I primarily work in the FATE and the soccer engagements. So for today's topic, what I thought I would rather give a little bit about the insights of the gaming industry to everyone. As Sandeep mentioned, that many of us are in the gaming industries and interact with games and play with it on, almost on a daily basis. And for some of you, it could be a an insightful topic to understand what happens, the nuances that's going on in the gaming ecosystem. So, keeping that in mind, I have kind of structured the presentation in three sections. The first section of the presentation, I would be talking about the gaming industry and the gaming ecosystem itself. I'll be touching a little bit about the history of gaming and the consoles or the different modes of the or appliances that is available for use in the gaming industry. The second aspect of the presentation would is basically the business perspective that goes on in the gaming industry, how people make money, both from the gaming company's perspective and the gamer's perspective. Yes, this is an industry where even the gamers have an opportunity to make good amounts of money. And number three, we will be talking about the risks, the cybersecurity, and the safety aspects of gaming, which is an important topic, frankly, because point number one, we are in the technology team, we are in technology consulting, and more importantly, we have got minors as well playing in the games, playing games. So that's why this is an important thing. Without further ado, let's just start about the gaming industry. So, number one, what basically comprises the gaming industry? So, number one, first of all, it's very important to realize that in the current era that we are in the present year, the gaming industry is first of all an economic sector, which and why it's an economic sector, because of the money that is involved. The primary aspect of gaming is to provide entertainment, joy, or a sense of adventure, or a sense of fulfillment, success to the people at large. But primarily, the gaming industry revolves around the development, marketing, and the monetization of the games. And right now, in this era that we are in, there are games made for everybody. And when I say everyone, I do mean everyone. That is people for all age groups. There are games for kids who are as young as 3 years, 2 years, to the games that are made for senior citizens as well. Games can be play. Games is such a beautiful industry that in a way it brings people together, because the thing is, a single game can be played by multiple people, like family games or multiplayer games, or games especially meant for teenagers. And additionally, what we also see in the gaming industry right now is that we have events called as esports, where games are played in where keeping the competition in mind. So there are gaming competitions and conventions present all over the world, especially in India, the US, and in the Europe regions, which is now called as esports. And just to add one context about the esports thing, so sometime in 2007, if I'm not wrong, the International Olympics Committee has considered, has started to consider, my apologies, has started to consider introducing esports as part of Olympic events. Given the number of players, the participation, and the overall positive culture that is getting imbibed everywhere. So the Olympics is also considering to introduce games as part of as an event as part of the Olympics. But will not. I'm not sure when it's going to be introduced, but it is. All I can say right now is it's heading towards a positive direction. So, like I said, games is an economic sector primarily made for entertainment purposes. And more importantly, what this has created, which is a very important thing to keep in mind, is that it has created a culture, a gaming culture across everyone, everywhere. So moving forward, to be a part of the video game industry, or what is basically required, or what drives the video game industry, is basically two components. Number one is the hardware components, and number two is the game itself. Hardware is an important aspect required for gaming, because we need for a typical game, we need a device which is compatible, or which is capable of executing games. It could be a console, a computer, so on and so forth. And in addition to that, you may need media and entertainment systems like TVs, or sound systems, so on and so forth. And there are specialized furniture also available, dedicated for the gaming industry, which I'll touch upon in some time. And with the and include along with the hardware aspect, we also obviously need the games as well. So the games are available in multiple platforms. It could be computers, it could be mobiles, it could be console based games, it could be anything. We also have something called as freemium based games, which I'll explain to you guys in a bit. And there are also games which involves money, which is the gambling based games. So for today, I will not be speaking much about the gambling-based games, but I will try to touch upon the other aspects that has been displayed in the slide. So just to give you one more background as to how big the industry is, and how how active this industry is. As of 2019, there are 2.74 billion global gamers, 2.74 billion global gamers. That's a huge number in itself. And this has resulted for gaming companies to make a revenue of $159 billion globally. And from an Indian perspective, where the Indian markets, contribute, we have about 300 million gamers, contributing to about 870 million dollars revenue. India is a little bit of a small player, because we have kind of had a little bit of a late start when it comes to technology, because our internet services and the standardized technology started coming into India a little bit late. So hence the delay. But the growth rates that we are seeing in the gaming industry from from an Indian perspective is phenomenal. And globally, like the data consumed by the gaming industry is about 48 exabytes uh, as of 2019, and 1 exabyte equals 1 million terabytes. The closest that has come to the gaming industry's data consumption is the email and the corporate communications, which has about 56 to 60 exabytes in the year 2019. So the gaming industry, so This basically means that the gaming industry is almost as big as the the other corporates that is present globally. So this is a huge industry with a lot of potential, and something everybody can look forward to because of the satisfaction that it introduces. So, a small history on the timeline regarding the games. So, to make it crisp, the gaming industry has started sometime in the 1950s, obviously as some experiments. Some of these university research centers wanted to create simulations, and they just started with something simple like moon landing and tic tac toes. This happened in somewhere in the 1950s. But the real gaming thing, the real gaming development probably started in the 70s, wherein the arcade game cultures were introduced. So I don't know if you guys can remember or not. Like when I was a kid, I used to go to this place called Astro Mischief, where we used to buy some special coins, put it in the slot, play the game. It could be a car game or a water scooter or anything, or some sort of a fighting game. Right. So the arcade games culture kind of took off, especially in the States, and a lot of people were spending a lot of time in these cultures. I mean, in these arcade centers, playing the games. And in the 1970s, that's when the introduction of the first generation home gaming consoles. So until then, we had to game at a gaming arcade, or have a very expensive have a computer which is quite expensive in itself, and play the games in it, which really did not make any sense because of the costs involved. But yes, we have the first console introduced sometime in the 70s. The 1980s is termed as the golden age of gaming because of the number of games that was released. Some of the favorite games that was released worldwide and enjoyed by people worldwide is games like Galaga, Galaxy, and Pac-Man, Dave, and let's not forget Super Mario. In fact, Super Mario is still a game played by a game played by millions of people, including myself. I played in my phone, and there are, as of now, there are like world records being set for speed runs, meaning how fast can I complete the game? And as of today, I think it stands at 4 minutes 50 seconds. So people, continuously compete on these games that have been released in the 1980s. 1990s, basically, that's when the PCs started becoming more popular among people. So there we have got we've got a lot of games introduced for computers. There were markets set up for PC games, console-based games, and the primary companies that were driving the console-based markets were Nintendo, Sony, Atari, and others. And that's when also mobile phones started becoming more and more popular. So we can see one of the first games introduced for mobiles, which is the Snake game, which I'm pretty sure everybody in UI would have played. Coming to the 2000s, up till date, the gaming industry has undergone a boom. And when I say a boom, it's like gaming is everywhere. So the game 360 model was kind of focused by companies, wherein like, let's not just focus on consoles, let's focus on everything else. There is consoles, there's accessories, there's like merchandise, there is augmented reality of gaming, there's virtual reality gaming. Let's also have competitions. Let's bring people with common interest of gaming together, discuss, play, make money, or share strategies of gamings, and all these things started taking place. And the gaming companies have been putting a lot of money in developing a 360 degree view of the gaming industry. So we can say that a proper gaming ecosystem was set up sometime in the 2000s. And more importantly, we have also seen technological advancements, and gaming industry is also one of the reason why we have got good equipment right now. So like we have got 4K TVs. Like I remember it was a big thing to have a full HD television back at home, but right now HD is nothing. We've got 4K, and we have got 8K televisions and monitors coming into play, and better sound systems being introduced as well. And gaming industry has been an important contributing factor for these technological developments. So as of now, what we see here is that there are games being developed to cover the 360-degree view, that includes the games, the markets, the conventions, the merchandise, the hardware, and the conventions and competitions. So this is basically where we are, and this is basically the timeline. Now, some of the games that I just thought I'd make a slide on some of the games that we have been playing. Like we have got famous games like the Prince of Persia, Dave, Super Mario, Pac-Man. The first generation games, and now it's evolved into games like Angry Birds, Candy Crush, Farmville, FIFA, Assassin's Creed, Red Dead Redemption. There's like a bunch of games right now that is available. And we've also got games for like I said, even senior citizens, family based games as well, right? So we have, like, who doesn't play Ludo with their family right now, or who doesn't play Monopoly? Like, I've got my family sitting in Mangalore, I'm sitting here. I can we can as well as play together on the phone, right? So games is kind of taken over, and it's available in almost any media. And but it's also important to understand the gaming consoles as well, because hardware forms an important aspect without which you can't do games. So like I said, the gaming consoles were introduced sometime in the 70s and 80s. Some notable consoles are the Atari console, the NES system, that is a Nintendo Entertainment System. They basically came up with the cartridge based games. I'm pretty sure some of us may have have grown up playing these games. Then the PS4, the PlayStation 1 was introduced sometime in 1994, followed by, then Microsoft decided to get into the gaming market, which is by introducing the Xbox. Nintendo was playing at another level with a specific focus on the Game Boys, and they've got multiple versions of the Game Boy, but it all started with the plain Game Boy sometime in the 1989. Nokia also being an innovative company in the 2000s, and they've had an also they had their own set of creativity in terms of their mobile phones. So they came up with the phone exclusively for gaming called as the Engage QD. Then the PlayStation Sony also came up with the PlayStation Portable, and as of now, we have a lot of consoles, a lot of variety that is available. And as of date, we have got the PS5, which and the Xbox Series X, which has just been released this year, and it will be available to purchase coming fall. Facebook has also been, being an innovative company that it is, has brought out with a VR product called as the Oculus, and it's quite famous, and a lot of people use it for VR based gaming, that is virtual reality based gaming. And now we are seeing, we can safely say that we are moving to another generation, or we are crossing the leap, taking the leap in the gaming industry by outsourcing the hardware computing required. So Google has brought up with a project with a console called as the Google Stadia, which you can see here. They only sell a console and a casting thing, and the games are basically streamed from Google servers. So instead of me having equipment like this, which has graphic and processing capabilities, I've just outsourced it to companies like Google and Microsoft, and they are going to be doing the processing and the game rendering. And all we need is a good internet connection, let's say with 10 Mbps or 15 Mbps, and we can play games at HD level without any problems at the convenience at our home. Some of the gaming companies that are driving this industry or driving the ecosystem in a strong way are the Microsoft, that is Xbox Game Studios, PlayStation Game Studios. These are game studios which also develop games along with other companies such as Rockstar Games, Electronic Arts, Ubisoft, so on and so forth. We have got companies like Nintendo, who with a specific focus on console-based gaming. We have got companies such as Steam, which is a marketplace for PC-based games, and a lot of companies list their games in this marketplace, and it's basically a digital distribution network where games are distributed to Steam account holders all over the world, and they also provide a platform for multimedia gaming as well. We have also got companies such as Twitch. Like I said, we are now in the 360-degree perspective of gaming. So Twitch is a company which is being taken over by Amazon, which allows users to stream their gameplay online. So as I play a game on my computer or on my console, I can stream it, I can hook it up to the internet and stream it, and people worldwide can see it, comment on it, and understand the gameplay. So like I said, gaming industry brings people together, and so therefore there are companies that provide the tools to bring people together. Sorry. So going forward a little bit more to understand about the gaming genres, I've just tried to keep it really simple over here, because this is a never-ending topic when it comes to gaming genre. But I find it's the best way to understand is by classifying it into five types. Like number one, the action-based games. These could be first-person shooter games, meaning like I control one person on the game, and I complete a mission or complete a story or do some activities. Like we've got examples like Counter-Strike, PUBG, and now PUBG has been banned, so Indians are coming with their own versions of PUBG called as Fauji, and Medal of Honor, Mortal Kombat, etc. We have got sports-based games, which with a specific focus on racing or international sports or simulations. And some notable games in this genre are Forza, Need for Speed, FIFA, MotoGP, Mario Kart, and Microsoft Flight Simulator. We've got action-based games with a specific focus on adventure and action, based on some sort of a storyline. We have got games like Red Dead Redemption, Batman, God of War, Assassin's Creed, and Pokemon. And in fact, some points to note here is that, like, for example, the God of War and the Assassin's Creed games, a lot of research is also put in these games to get the history right, because they somehow portray the history of the world in as part of the games. They're games based on the Greek gods, the Norwich culture. Like for example, I'm playing a game called Assassin's Creed, and I've had the privilege of meeting Socrates. He's the great philosopher, right? So I have the privilege of meeting him in the game. So people have studied and into these characters, their stories, and they have found a very nice way to package them and share it across to us users in the form of games. We also have strategy based games with a focus on strategizing your resources and expanding your position of the game. So where it could be like an army battle, or a battle of mythical creatures. So we have got games like Age of Empires, Command and Conquer, World of Warcraft, so on and so forth. Then we have the casual games. Usually, the casual games are targeted for kids and family-based games, or senior citizen-based games, or games just to play when we are stuck in traffic, right? You know what I'm saying, right? Like when so these games are like classic examples are Candy Crush, Mafia Wars, Farmville, Ludo, Scrabble, Pool, Penguin Diner, etc. You don't need anything, you don't need like crazy or heavy equipment to play these games. All you just need is a phone and you're sorted. So this basically concludes the first section of the presentation. I hope in wherein I was able to portray the different insights in this industry. Now let's talk business about games, because like we said, there's $160 billion forming part of the market, right? So let's understand how this money is being earned by the gaming companies. So first of all, what we need to understand is that the games, there are two sets of revenues. One is revenue from the game itself and a revenue from the hardware itself. And to make it simple, the gaming revenue for companies can be broadly classified from games, can be broadly classified as games income from licensing and royalty, income from sponsorship and advertising, and subscription based games. So from a licensing and royalty perspective, so games primarily make money by the sale of games. I can buy the game from a shop or download the game or buy purchase the game from their website or through some marketplace or a digital distribution platform. I pay money and the gaming companies receive it. In addition to that, they also sell gaming accessories and merchandising. Examples: limited edition consoles. For example, we have got consoles like Xbox Project Scorpio, which came out for like $600-$700, and with heavy processing capabilities. Or you may buy a PlayStation console for Spider-Man game edition. They make consoles, and especially for the game, the look and feel of the console would be different, and it's something people are excited for, and they would buy it. Plus, there's a lot of revenue in terms of royalty, in terms of licensing the game characters for clothing companies and other sorts of merchandises. We also have in-game purchases of currency and items. Right now, we are living in games wherein there is some sort of currency available within the game. And let's say I need to have 5,000 points, but I don't have it, so I pay 4,500 rupees to the company, and they give me 5,000 points. We typically see this in casual games and freemium games. Freemium games are nothing but games which are free, but if you want to continue to play it further or unlock certain stuff, you need to make micro payments. So they're nothing but freemium based games. From a sponsorship and advertising perspective, advertising is basically something that comes everywhere, and they found a way to enter into the gaming industry as well. And unfortunately, our ad blocks that we use may not be sufficient to block the ads, because the branding the branding of these advertisements are included as part of the gameplay. So, for example, I play games like FIFA. I'm gonna find ads of so many companies. It could be Uber Eats, it could be FIFA, it could be anything, Three Mobile, or any of these companies that sponsor the football teams, right? So we have got advertising revenue. Many companies reach out to gaming companies and tell that, boss, can you please include my product as part of your gameplay? You may include it as an item, or you may just show it as part of a banner in the street, right? So for that, the gaming company tells, yes, okay, but you need to pay me because my game is very popular, and you came to me, right? So you need to pay for that. So a lot of revenue is made by companies by in-game advertising of products, automobiles, and banks, etc. And some of the free-based games or the freemium-based games will contain advertisement banners or impressions. Like, you complete one level, they'll show you an advertisement, and you need to see it. Or you watch advertisements and you collect coins so that you can skip the advertisements coming in the future. So there are different innovative ways these advertising companies use to project to put their content in games, and with which the companies earn money. Then finally, we have got the subscription based games. So this is something that is the new thing in the gaming industry, wherein games are given as form of a service. I already spoke about Google Stadia in one of my previous slides. Even Microsoft is working on a product called as Xbox Game Streaming, wherein if I just buy the Xbox based game, I can play it on my computer, or I can play it on my console, or I may just need to buy probably a new console given by Microsoft, wherein I just need to have a controller and connect it to my TV, something like Google Stadia, and I can just stream the game online. So that is something which we are heading into. And subscription based games are also on the rise. So I pay every month to a company like Electronic Arts, and I will continue to have access to their games. And let's say I want to the moment I stop paying money to electronic arts, I cannot play FIFA or virtual tennis or cricket anymore. So this is another form of gaming revenue. From the other revenue perspective, a lot of money is has been made by gaming companies simply because of the sale of consoles, computers, gaming laptops, mobile phones. Like for example, the Dell Alienware laptop is regarded one of the best laptops in the world for gaming. The laptop starts at a price of 1,50,000 rupees here in India, and the technical specifications are insane. And in addition to sale of the modes of gaming, we also have sale of gaming accessories, merchandise, and game furniture. So this is basically the revenue aspect from a company perspective in a nutshell as to how they make money by in this gaming ecosystem. Now, the gaming revenue model for gamers. Like I said, we are in the generation where we are witnessing a gaming boom, which has paved way for esports and competitions. Every year, at least 40 to 50 events happen, events of note, official, all over the world, where people come, they form teams, they are sponsored, the teams are sponsored by, let's say, some advertising companies, or they come themselves and they play ahead in these competitions and win the prizes. And in fact, some information of note over here. In 2020, the total prize money won by gamers as of now, despite the COVID lockdown, is $32.5 million, as against $227 million that happened last year. Last year there was a total of 25,000 players who participated in 5,000 tournaments. And we have seen that, and from an Indian perspective, FIFA and PUBG there are a lot of competitions based on these two games. And from an Indian perspective, we have got people earning whose total winnings have crossed a crore. Like for example, the player named Ronak or Owace or Mortal, they've altogether they have earned total winnings of 3.4 crore rupees, right? So esports and competitions is a huge thing for gamers. Like people come play and they earn money. It could be money earned as a matter of somebody sponsoring them, or them winning the competition itself. From a content creation per se, this is another source of passive income, I might say, because content creation, the influencer, we are currently living in the influencer generation, where everybody is an Instagram influencer or a YouTube influencer, so on and so forth. So we have got gaming influencers where they stream their content online. It could be steps on how to play the game, or it could be live streaming of the games, or it could be speed runs, like I mentioned in the example of Super Mario. Right, so people watch these streams, and other gamers kind of contribute money to it, or they put advertisement in their streams, or sponsored content on their screens by other companies, and that's how the gamers end up making money. Some notable platforms for such forms of content creation is Twitch, YouTube gaming, Facebook gaming. So these are platforms that are, and Patreon as well. May not forget that. So these platforms are used by a lot of people worldwide. They stream their content and they earn their money. The average revenue per user is expected to hit $19.53 by 2020, as against $17 in the previous year. So that's a huge spike that we can expect, given the number of gamers that is there online. Now let's talk a little bit more about the hardware or the furniture aspect. Why it's such an important thing. So what I've done is I've just made a sample budget for a gaming room. Let's say someone's interested and wants to put a lot of money in gaming. All he needs to do is have a budget of about $2,000, and he should obviously have a room with proper electricity and internet connections. He can buy a gaming chair, a table, 4K monitors, a 4K TV, a gaming keyboard and mouse, gaming headsets, home theater, a 5.1 channel speakers, a gaming console, more importantly, and he all he has to do is shell out $2,045. And as you can see in the image here, this is a typical example of one of the gaming rooms I found on Google. So, he's got a TV and he's set up, three monitors for his computer-based games because maybe he's a serious gamer, right? And you can see the type of furniture that he has. The tables are elongated because these furnitures are made specific to the gamers that are part of the industry. So that's why this is a huge revenue. And let's say I want to be a casual gamer. I will still end up spending a minimum of $1,000, $1,200 at least to have a proper console at home. So to understand the gaming ecosystem, what actually happens in the development of the game is kind of simple. There is a gaming studio. The gaming studio ends up developing the game. This game is then subjected to rating by rating agencies. Now, when it comes to rating agencies, the thing what's happening around the world is some of the countries have made it as a regulation, and some countries are on a voluntary compliance sort of a thing. So, like some notable rating agencies are the ESRB, which is the Entertainment Software Regulatory Board. They give ratings such as the one that you can see on my screen. So this game is for teens. You'll find a stamp like this on the gaming package or on the site that you're seeing. Like from an Indian perspective, we kind of follow the rating system of Europe, which is PEGI, Pan European Gaming Information. And they provide the rates based on age, games 3 years and above, 7 years and above, 12 years and above, so on and so forth. The games are then rated and then ported into different platforms. So the base code for the game remains the same, but it just needs to be tweaked so that it can play properly in any platform. Like let's say PUBG has been made. They have to then port the game to the mobile platform and the computer platform and the PlayStation and the Xbox platform. So there is a small process involved in that, which is undertaken by the gaming companies. Then these companies need to distribute it. So gaming companies can distribute it on their own or reach out to sites like Steam or Microsoft Store or PlayStation Network, wherein the marketing can be done by others as well. And this is basically what happens from a gaming company perspective. Now, the gaming consumer perspective, what happens? The game is purchased either from the gaming company or from the gaming distribution platform, and he uses it in his whatever console or media that he has. And he would be, he can utilize multiplayer platforms for playing the games with everybody, or he can look into monetizing his game by streaming it in content management platforms, or let's say he can participate in esports. But this is basically what happens. But one thing becomes really clear over here, and the thing is that the games that we play right now have a huge dependency on the internet. So why it's important, that's where we head on to the third aspect of the presentation, which talks about the cybersecurity and the other risks that we face in gaming, and what safety measures that the gaming companies have imbibed. So just to give you a small note over here, there have been breaches, cyber attacks on the gaming industry. So, like for example, Steam kind of had a compromise of 72 million Windows 10 gamers. So their Windows 10 application of Steam was compromised, and the hackers were able to get compromised data of 72 million people. Sony PlayStation suffered a massive data breach. This happened sometime in 2011. And in fact, I was a part of the PlayStation network. So I got an email telling that my user ID and password was compromised, and I had to reset it. And they made me reset the password. Data breach happened for 200 million Android and mobile iOS gamers by the games specifically developed by a company called Zyanga. Candy Crush. A lot of people have been playing Candy Crush, but there was a news report 2 years ago wherein they were in addition of you playing the game, you were also supplying a lot of information from your phone to the creators of Candy Crush. So that also became a huge controversy. And in addition to that, we are also seeing examples of cyberbullying happening over the internet. Like there is one survey in 2017 that said that one in every two young online gamers are bullied. Fortnite is free, but kids are getting bullied into spending money. And in fact, even in competitive sports as well, we are seeing professional gamers being caught in cheating to win a $2 million prize. So this is just a small input, problems that are being faced by both gamers and the gaming companies. So what are the basic risks in the gaming companies? So to make it simple, you can basically classify it into five categories. Number one being cybersecurity, licensing, gaming integrity, thefts, and privacy. So like I said, internet plays a huge role in gaming because a lot of things are streamed online. You need to have a network or availability so that a lot of people can play on these games. So gaming companies are typically subjected to DDoS and injection based attacks. The hackers try to compromise the servers, the application servers, and the database servers that are hosting the games. And right now, like I said, we are the 360-degree view. We have got IoT devices being used as part of the gaming industry as well. So devices such as the Kinect or controllers, VR systems, mobile phones, they are also subject to cyber attacks, which could lead into number one thefts, or it could be a compromise of data, or it could be plain I can't play the game anymore. The game is not available for gameplay. So to this, what companies have started to do is started increasing their cyber budgets, have benchmarking their cyber security practices, and this is where I feel we as EY can make a significant contribution to the gaming industry because the money is good and it's also for a good cause as well. From a licensing perspective, this is something I'm pretty sure most of us may have done, but the consoles are cracked. Let's say one Xbox game costs about 4,000 rupees. I'm like, I'm not going to spend 4,000 rupees. With great difficulty, I've got myself an Xbox. So here's an idea. Let me take the Xbox, let me crack it. I run some sort of some software in it which will compromise the system, which will allow me to run copies of the original game on the system. So I can buy a copy of the game for like as cheap as 200 rupees. I'm like, that's fine. I'll take 200, take 250 rupees, no problem, but give me the game. So console cracking, the use of emulators, like we are now in a position where we can play PlayStation games in our mobile phones or Game Boy games in our mobile phones and computers, right? And we can like just bypass the purchase of the hardware and the game itself. We also have game cracking, piracy, keygens. I'm pretty sure many of you have seen or have at least browsed the website, thepiratebay.org, and wherein a lot of people would have downloaded gaming cracks and things like that. So this would basically lead to a loss of revenue. From a gaming integrity per se, this is where gaming companies need to protect the games from gamers taking undue advantage. Now, I'm not talking about normal cheat codes that is forming part of the gameplay. I'm talking about somebody modifying the gaming code itself or that specific line of code which will give them an advantage. In fact, we have got devices like this. It's a small USB stick which I can buy for like $60. I insert it in my PC or in an Xbox or in a PlayStation, and I can take an advantage in the game. It could be I will never die, or if anybody shoots me, my life does not go, or whenever I shoot, it's going to be a headshot. It could be going through walls. It could be anything under the sun. My fuel does not will never become empty in my car that I'm using in my racing game. There are so many scenarios that are being thought, and these forms of code where code modification will ruin the integrity of the game, and this can be exercised by using by means of an hardware or using some specialized software as well. Like we have got emulator based tools like the Game Shark for this. Then we have got theft of games, the theft aspect in terms of virtual currency and gaming inventory and goods. So a lot of games, like I said, provide virtual currency or items that are unique to me and that are accessible by me wherever I log in. So hackers kind of hack the accounts and steal or transfer the inventory or the items. So this would basically lead to a reputation loss to a company, to which gaming companies have again need to strengthen their cybersecurity practices. Privacy becomes a very important when it comes to gaming industry, because we need to understand that there are minors playing in the games, playing these games. These minors interact with adults online, and not everybody plays with good faith. There are people with malicious intent who could take advantage of these minors. So the gaming companies also need to protect the miners. They need to protect the data of the miners, especially the geographic and other PII and other card information. So these are basically the typical risks in the gaming business, and what the gaming companies are doing right now to protect it. From a gamer's perspective, the risks are also there, and in fact the privacy and theft kind of remains common because it goes both ways, both to the gaming company and the gamer. So that's why the gamers will suffer loss of virtual currency or gaming inventory, and from a privacy perspective their data may be sold or compromised, or identity thefts can happen because of minors freely publishing their data online. In addition to that, we have a new problem called cyberbullying, and a lot of minors are bullied, or not minors, if other gamers are being bullied by other gamers. They are shamed online, and they also resort to extortion from these gamers. So there are groups which extort money. They make a team and they destroy the other team, and they extort money from the other teams as well, to ensure that the record is not saved in the game. So cyberbullying is an important thing which is getting a lot of pace, which also leads to psychological and physical risks, which could mean addiction, or the loss of physical activities, obesity, people being more introverts, and people having that living in a fantasy. That's what they say, right? So these new problems also come, and when you add the cyberbullying aspect into it, the psychological well-being of the gamer is at risk, right? So it's important that the gamers protect themselves, and we as consultants and or parents, or elder brothers, elder sisters, let's also take care of our near and dear ones, by educating them, or by empowering them to protect themselves. We have also seen some sort of positive impact in gaming, where let's say somebody's already going through some psychological issues or whatever. So gaming has been suggested as one of the innovative therapies as well. So because it leads a distraction, and it provides a sense of focus to the person who is undergoing these problems, and probably it contributes in rectifying the issues that the person would have been facing. So that is probably the positive impact that we are seeing here. So it acts as a distraction during depression or other mental ailments. Since gamers play games for longer periods of time, so they will also have increased attention span, because they need to be alert of the factors that are going around the game, and also helps in boosting memory. So these are basically the risks from in the gaming business, specifically to gamers. And now, the key takeaways that what we can look forward into in the gaming industry is: number one, the doors are open for people to monetize this enthusiasm that is surrounding the $160 billion industry. So that is point number one. Gaming companies, gamers, consultants like us can leverage this industry, and we all can have a good time in it. Gamers can game, we can help them by providing the security and control, so on and so forth. But let's just classify it in three perspectives: that is a business perspective, technology and safety perspective, and the psychology perspective. First of all, we are expected to see a growth in the gaming industry specific to the mobile VR and augmented reality based gaming. Classic example of augmented reality based gaming is the Pokemon Go, where everybody it went viral. Everybody was playing Pokemon Go on their phones. They were going to churches, temples, just because it happened to be a center and there was a rare Pokemon over there, right? So there's going to be an increase in the VR and AR based gaming. The gaming companies and advertising companies are going to find more innovative methods for monetizing the games. So people are they're like there's a shift from a purchased based game to a free based game, because the customer accepts anything as long as it's free. They don't care what. Unfortunately, that's what the situation is. Some people obviously take due diligence, but nevertheless, if something is free, people usually try it out. And by 2023, we are going to see the overall gaming industry to have a global revenue of 200 billion, and from an Indian perspective it's going to be 2.7 billion. So there is a huge market for gaming companies. There's a huge market for everyone. Now, from a technology and a safety perspective, number one, a change in the mode of gaming is witnessed, wherein we see games as a service, wherein examples like Google Stadia or Microsoft Xbox streaming services, things like that are going to be more prevalent because it's more cheaper. Because, like a typical cost of the Xbox is $399, but a Google Stadia, which is a games as a service thing, it only costs about $100. That's it. And $10 a month for as subscription fees. So it kind of works out very well, and the gamers can play any game that is hosted in their Google's network. So games as a service is expected to penetrate in a strong manner globally. As a result, the cybersecurity initiatives and practices are being scaled up. The companies have realized that when a lot of people play the same game together, it is more beneficial to the company. So the cybersecurity budgets of gaming industries, though it's not made public, these companies are investing heavily to protect the security, availability, and the privacy aspects within the games. Since, like I said, we are moving towards the free based games, so efforts for DRM and license management is expected to also reduce. One is because the games are made for free. Second is they are creating games which always has a dependency of the internet, wherein the games authenticate themselves to the server the gaming company servers to determine if it's a valid game or not. So the efforts to reduce the DRM and license management is being reduced. From a psychology perspective, like I said, games have a huge psychological impact. Especially, we need to protect our minors from cyberbullying, addiction, and other hazards. So we need to empower the minors. We need to, have this open discussions with the minors. Talk to them about it, tell them what is right, what is wrong. We basically need to teach them how to judge a good situation and a bad situation. This is the problem that we face in India, where the minors don't know what they are getting into. And if games like Blue Whale and all are being used by minors, it's unfortunately very saddening to see that minors who are like 12 years old, 10 years old, killing themselves because they need to do the Blue Whale challenge. So it becomes really important to speak up. And we, coming from the technology industry perspective, our role here becomes our contribution plays a huge role in this regard. We also need to teach the minors, or not minors, gamers in general, to have a balance in gaming. Because of like, if a person continuously games, he could head towards introversy or fantasy living, as mentioned in the previous slide. It's very important to have a balance of everything, a balance of work, a balance of play, a balance of family time, outside time, so on and so forth. And thirdly, minors need to be educated to identify and segregate bad games. So with this, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. Thank you for joining so early on a Friday. So I just thought I'd make it interesting by speaking on a fun topic like games. I hope my presentation was helpful, and I'll be happy to hear your points of views. You can reach out to me anytime. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, Bharat. That was quite an insightful session. Do we have any questions quickly in the interest of time? Okay, so may I request Matthew to put in the concluding remarks, please? Over to you, Matthew.
Thanks, Prashant. Thank you, Bharat, for such an eye-opening session. I'm not a gamer, and I know gaming is popular, but I had absolutely no idea about the size and scale of this industry. I think you mentioned 300 million gamers in India, right? Wow, that's huge. I never knew it was so big.
And it,
Thank you. Sorry, you were saying
only thing
something.
I will say is I think you have taken out the fun in gaming, man, but with so many numbers. On a lighter note.
there's going to be
Yeah,
there's going
Thanks,
to
man.
be
It's
more
a good
fun right now
presentation.
that we have this information, so all of us can capitalize on this potential of this and have
yeah.
while
You've
doing
gi-
it.
you've given a lot of insights into their revenue streams, the risks from both a gamer and as well as a gaming industry perspective. I'm sure a lot of research has gone into this. I mean, really wonderful.
Thank you
It,
so much, Matthew.
I'm
Thank
sure with AR and VR and all that coming or developing fast, gaming is going to attract even more and more people. So, like Bharat said, when where there's fun and time pass, I'm sure there's also going to be addiction. So make sure you all play responsibly.
you. Being
Thank,
responsible.
yeah. Thank you, Bharat.
Thank you so much, everyone.